this session, we establish our enemy character with a little help from Mixamo and Blender. Welcome back, guys. Alright, today we have a really good one for you today. We are going to make an enemy player. So we're going to use a third-party site called Mixamo, which has some really good animated characters, 3D animated characters. We're going to take a couple of animations, blend them together using Blender. So very excited. We're going to be using a little bit of Blender today. Very limited amount of Blender, just to bring the animations together, export them, and then bring them into PlayCanvas. So let's get to it. So the first thing you want to do is you want to go to Mixamo. So Mixamo is an Adobe site that has 3D characters inside of it with animations. They let you export them, and then you can use them in your applications. You have to create your own account. So I have one, so I'm going to just log in here. Once you've logged in, you got to pick a character. So I have a character that I've already picked here, but in case you want to use him, his name is Romero. Okay, so that's the name of the character that we're going to use. It's kind of like a zombie guy. And then the next thing we need are a bunch of animations. So I have a couple of animations that I'm going to want to use. You guys should feel free to, I think you guys should choose the same animations that I'm using. That way we're sort of all in sync. So, what are the animations that we need? We need the following animations. One is we need an idle. So let's look for an idle, and the one I'm going to use is this guy, because I like this idle. So you take that, you're going to download that. Download. Next, you are going to look for a zombie attack. So I want this one. This one looks cool. Next, we need a dying animation, so I have one that I like called Dying Backward. So we're going to get that guy. This next one's going to be a little tricky. We need an animation that shows the character being attacked. So I have a nice one called Being Strangled. And we're going to make a little modification here. So you'll notice that the character doesn't actually, appear to be attacked until like the middle of the frame, middle of the animation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim the animation to somewhere around 40, because that's when he starts actually moving. And then I'm going to download. So I'm going to download that. And we need two more. We will, of course, need Zombie Walk. This one, I want this one. And we're going to make a small adjustment here. We're going to click In Place, because it's important when using animated characters inside of a game engine that they're actually walking in, that they're being animated in place. And the actual walking is done by the game engine and some logic to move the character around. So we're going to do In Place here. Click Download. And then the last one is sort of a middle animation in between an action and idle. So it's called action to idle something or other. Action to standing idle. Okay, so basically he's like doing something, then he stands up. And you'll see as we bring these into the PlayCanvas, you'll see how they all work together. So let's get this one. Okay, now that you have these animations, put them in a directory so that you should now have 6 FBX files. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. An action to idle, being strangled, dying backwards, idle, zombie attack, and zombie walk. Now we're going to take these, we're going to bring them into Blender, and then combine them so that they form one FBX file with one character and 6 different animations. So let's get to it. Start up Blender. Let's delete the default cube. Import the 6 FBX files. We will use the default import parameters. Give me an import FBX. Once imported, you will see the 6 armatures along with their meshes in Blender. Delete the bottom 5 armature components in the hierarchy. Blender gets a little messed up, leaves some meshes behind, so let's delete those as well. We are left with 1 armature in the hierarchy. The other animations are also stored in Blender, and I'll show you how to access those. Change the bottom panel to the dope sheet, then Action Editor. In this dropdown, you will find all the animations. Ensure that the armature is selected so you can preview the actual animations. Here, you see the walk animation. We are now going to rename the animations using a specific naming convention that our script expects, so just follow along. Name this walk. This one, we will name hurt reaction. This one is die. Attack. Action to idle. This looks like the idle action. Idle. Our next step involves centering the mesh on the center of the origin. Click on the Y handle of the Access widget. Press 1 on the number pad to switch to the front view. Left-click and drag to select the entire mesh and armature. Press the Z key to restrict movement to the Z-axis. Gently drag the character down, like so, centering the origin near the navel of the character. Now we're going to export this Blender file as an FBX file. Export FBX. Specify a file name for the FBX file. We want to include the model's texture. The easiest way to do this is to change the path mode to copy, and then make sure the icon right here is clicked as well. This means embed the texture with the file. Check the Selected Objects checkbox, and only Armature and Mesh for object types. Z forward on the Transform Forward. In Bake Animations, uncheck the NLA strips checkbox. I know it's a lot, but these are the best settings I've found so far. Then click the Export FBX button to export. You should now have a zombie FBX file. Drag and drop the zombie FBX file into the Models, the Zombie directory in your PlayCanvas project. This will take a good while, so I'm going to freeze the video and come back once that's done. Once it's uploaded and expanded, you should see something like this in the directory. Let's create an entity for the zombie character. And make sure the zombie's parent is the root component. You don't need this camera 2 component right now, so let's delete it. Now drag and drop the zombie.glb model into the zombie entity, and let's rename it to body. You'll see why later on. Let's position the zombie character in front of the player. We're going to rotate the light a little, just so we get a better view of the zombie character. There you go, nice and scary. Now we're going to add animations to the zombie. Click on the body, and then Add Component, Animation to add an animation component. Let's clean up the animation objects a little by removing the armature prefix and the .glb suffix from the name. Die. Herc reaction. Walk. Now, one by one, let's add the animations to the animation component assets field. Order doesn't matter here. Let's add the enemy animation script to this entity. Don't worry about the details of the script for now. We'll go into more script details later in other video lessons. Next, we want to configure the zombie entity so that it can physically interact with the environment, walk on the floor, interact with the player. For that, we need to add 2 special components: collision and rigid body. Oh, I just noticed that the body is not positioned properly relative to the zombie, so let's fix that. There you go. Now you can play the different animations by clicking here. Let's fix the zombie collider. We won't make it too complex. We just want the collider shape to enclose the zombie character like this. There's a lot of plumbing behind the scenes required for the scripts to work, which I'll spare you the details of right now. Let's just get this whole thing working. To do so, we need a game manager. Create a game manager entity on the root. and then add the game manager script. Now let's launch this sucker and see what we got. Click the launch button. And there you have it. We now have a player in front of a scary animating character. I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and I'll see you next time. Booyah! I hope you found these videos useful. Want to keep watching videos like these? Hit that subscribe and like button below so I can make you more for free. Booyah!